Many think that farming is an idyllic, peaceful profession, that the farmers are somehow apart from all the worries that everyone faces today. But farmers do exactly know that in how many multiple ways that they face the challenges. There are so many challenges that they face today. Of all, one of the major challenges for them is money. Hi friends, I'm Namita Pandey. Welcome to Freedom's Farming channel, and today I'm going to talk about one of the most important topic for you as a farmer. I'm going to talk about financial planning for all the farmers. So what is financial planning? Well, a standard definition of financial planning can be it is a comprehensive evaluation of an individual's current pay and the future financial state by using current known variables to predict the financial future income, the assets value, and also the withdrawal plans. But financial planning can definitely vary from one individual to another individual. Different people can interpret this concept in a very different styles. For most of them out there, a financial planning could just mean that they only need to save money. Whatever they have earned so far, they just need to save that money and they do not have to overspend it, etc. And they need to save it for their future. But financial planning is not just limited to only savings that you do today. But you also need to know that how you can cut down on your current expenses. You need to know that how you can make more money with your existing savings that you have, and also how you can grow your assets eventually. Financial planning is a method that determines how a business, for that matter, or an individual is able to achieve their strategic goals and objectives by considering various important factors. Now, these factors could include assessing your number of assets that you have currently, your short-term as well as long-term goals, and also your risk appetite. You might ask me, I'm a farmer, I'm not a businessman or a salaried individual. So why do I really need to worry about my finances? How exactly important is financial planning for me? Well, let me tell you that financial planning is not just a key factor for any businesses, but it is also an essential part for any individual who are involved or are engaged in farming as well. One of the key benefits, let me tell you, of the financial planning that you have today is that you have the ability to cut down on the cost of the expenses, that you make most out of the available resources that you have. Financial planning helps the farmers control the cost or the expenses at various stages of agriculture. It makes sure that you have an annual budget. It makes sure that you have a plan for reducing the wastage and also monitor these plans to make them work better for you. Financial planning helps the farmers in a number of ways. It can also help you to track your cash flows. It will ensure that there is a reasonable balance with regard to the flow of funds, so that the farmers can not only focus on the agriculture, but also they can plan financial future very well. Now, it is very disheartening and very saddening to know that these days hundreds of farmers fall into debt traps. Also, many of them also commit suicide just because they're not able to repay the loans that they have taken. Thus, having a proper financial plan in place can save the lives of the farmers and also will ensure that they have safe financial future for themselves as well as for their family members. With that said, let's now look at some of the financial tips that I have in store for you farmers. So the very first one is you need to determine your current financial state. Now, you need to determine whether you are under debt, you have taken any loans, you have to repay, what is your exact current status. The second one is you need to understand what is your short-term goal, what is your long-term goal. The next one is you need to identify the methods that will help you to increase your farm inputs as well as the income, how you can increase your income over a period of time. The next one is you need to look for alternative source of incomes such as animal husbandry, livestock, cattle farming, etc. Now, let me tell you that we at Freedom have always promoted and passive income to look for different source of incomes. And we've also told people that especially in this area, you should not depend on one source of income alone. If it is your salary, do not only alone depend on that. Also look for other source of incomes. Now, the next step or the fifth step is you need to implement the plan that you have made so far. And the last step here is you need to reevaluate the entire plan that you have made according to the changes, if you see is there any changes in the current circumstances. Now, all of these 6 points, let me explain you with a small example. Let's say there are two people, a small farmer and a big farmer, which is a well-off farmer. Now, one of the financial tips I've give you is having a short-term goal as well as a long-term goal. Now, let's say a small farmer has 1 acre of land. and well settled off farmer has a 10 acres of land. Now, you as a small farmer, your immediate short-term plan should be, if you have any loans or if your debts, if you have taken any personal loans or bank loans, any kind of loans, you need to make sure that your short-term goal is to repay all the loans that you've taken and be financially independent. Whereas on the other hand, let's say the big farmer or the well-settled farmer, the rich farmer, now his or her short-term goal could include that, let's say he is a big farmer, he has 10 acres of land. His short-term goal could include that he earns at least 1 crore in a year with that 10 acres of land. Or he or she might as well plan to expand that land further. Now, these are the short-term goals that you as a small farmer or a well-off farmer can have. Now, other one is you need to also have a long-term goal. Now, if you're a small farmer, then long-term goal should be, currently you have 1 acre of land. Then your long-term goal should be that you need to achieve is you need to at least expand your land to 10 acres of land. And on the other hand, for a big farmer or a well-settled farmer, his or her goal, long-term goal should include that he needs to expand his land further, or he or she can also choose to go global, which means that now he is a big farmer, he is a well-settled farmer, which also means that he is well known in the Indian market. He is reached out to more people and his product is very good and he is selling out good. Now his big plan or the long-term plan could include that he needs to now go global, which means that he needs to reach out to the global markets and need to export his or her product. Now the other financial tip I had for you is you need to look in for alternative source of incomes. Now for you as a farmer, big farmer or a small farmer, whoever you are, whatever your income is, you need to also plan your expenses and your income. Now you need to plan this on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a quarterly basis, yearly basis, as well as for a long-term earnings that you can have. Now for any kind of farmer, your daily income could be out of a milk, out of the eggs. Your weekly income could come from the chickens or the vegetables you have grown, and your quarterly earnings could include the crops that you've cultivated, such as paddy, wheat, etc. Your yearly income or yearly earnings that you can make could be out of these seasonal crops. Now, these crops could be the fruits that you've cultivated, for example, dragon fruits, for example, guava, any kind of fruits, which is a seasonal crop, which is also a yearly crop that you've cultivated. And the last one is long-term earnings. Now, also remember that long-term earning here would mean that, let's say, for example, you have 10 acres of land or even 1 acre of land and you have cultivating one particular crop in that, let's say paddy or wheat. Now here the long-term earnings you can make out of the same land would include that you can cultivate another crop on the edges of the land. For example, you can choose to cultivate red sandalwood crop in that. Now red sandalwood crop, let me tell you, is a long-term crop, which means that out of this you can also aim at earning your long-term income. So these are the basic 5 ideas as to how you can plan to earn, whether you're a small farmer or you're a well-paid off farmer. Now the other point I would like to add here is, let's say if you have expenses, you need to cut down on your expenses. So for example, let's say you're a farmer, one of your expenses is towards buying fertilizers. Let's say for an instance, and your expense towards buying these fertilizers is rupees 1 lakh. So it is advisable that rather than spending the same amount of rupees 1 lakh, spend the same amount in buying say 1 or 2 cows, which in return will give you and will provide you with the daily income. It can be in the form of the milk that you get out of the cows. By cows, you'll not only get the fresh milk, but also you can choose to expand a business. You can make a business out of that by selling the value-added products that you get out of the milk. And let me also tell you that the cows that you buy will not only help you to give you the product, but also their waste is also very much useful. And the waste you can use in the form of the organic manure that in return can be used for your feeds. So there is absolutely no need for you to buy the fertilizers at all. Also, another way to increase your income, alternative income, is that let's say if you have rupees 5,000, then you can also choose to buy say 5 Kadaknath chickens. With this, you can also expect to get a weekly income. This can be in the form of the meat that you get, the eggs that they hatch, etc. And eventually you can choose to buy other breeds of chicken and you can expand and you can full-fledgedly get into poultry farming itself. Now, one of the other ways of increasing your farm productivity is also by using the government labs for soil testing. This is one of the best methods that you can approach, which will ensure that you have good productivity in your farms, and there is good amount of farm inputs that you get. Now also let me add you that to increase your farm productivity, you also need to first concentrate and resolve the issues like the fragmented land holdings. You also need to choose the crops and the seeds according to your soil conditions. You also need to reduce the usage of chemical fertilizers, which actually degrades the soil quality, and you also need to increase the use of biomanures. You need to create a proper irrigation facilities through rainwater harvesting, and you also need to improve the mechanization in the farms. So these are some of the ways how you can improve your farm productivity. Now moving on, after a years of toil and hard work, you as a farmer, you need to ensure that you enjoy a secure retirement and also meet your family obligations, such as your child's marriage, such as you need to also secure their future. If you have any kind of medical emergencies, or you might have medical expenses, so on and so forth. And for this, you need to have a certain goal in place. Now, to achieve these goals, you need to follow certain things. The first and foremost is you need to stop spending unnecessarily, which means that if in case you can cut down on your expenses in whatever forms you need to cut down on your expenses and strive to save more and more money. The second one is you need to avail schemes such as PMJJBY and PMSBY for life and accident cover. Now let me explain you what these schemes are. So PMJJBY, which is Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, provides a death coverage of Rs 2 lakh to the beneficiaries of the policy in the case of sudden demise of the insured person. The other scheme is you need to avail as a farmer is PMSBY, which is Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. This scheme is basically provides or it offers the health insurance policy which is available to all the Indian citizens between the age group of 18 to 70 years with an active savings account. Now, it also offers risk coverage to all the farmers of up to Rs 2 lakh for accidental deaths and also full disability and 1 lakh for partial disability. The other thing I would like to add is as a farmer, you also need to take benefits of government programs like Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, like Kisan Vikas Yojana, etc. Now, as an extra piece of information, I would also like to tell you, and like I've already mentioned, that in today's world, wherein we are hit by inflation, one of the important ways to beat inflation and increase our money is by investing. So whether you're a farmer or not, investing is one of the major things and one of the major factors that you need to consider to increase your savings and your money eventually. So as a farmer, I would definitely recommend you to start investing and eventually increase your money double. So as a farmer, I would recommend you that you invest in certain schemes and double your income. And as a farmer, I have one such scheme that specifically asks for the farmers to invest. So if you're planning to invest for a long term, then I would suggest you definitely consider investing in Post Office Kisan Vikas Patra. KPV as it is called. This scheme is a one-time investment scheme which is offered by the government of India. Under this particular scheme, your money will double in a given period of time. Let me tell you that the Kisan Vikas Patra is at present available in all the post office as well as in the banks of the country with a maturity period of 124 months. Now here the minimum investment you as a farmer you have to pay is just Rs 1000 and there is no maximum investment limit. So minimum if you have 1000 rupees if you have spare money, then you should definitely try and invest this money and double your investment in the next 124 months, and there is no maximum amount as well. For example, again, if you're a farmer and if this year you have made a good amount of money, if you have that spare amount after you have invested in fertilizers, if you have not invested in fertilizers, if you have invested in for laborers, you have to pay your laborers, if you have to feed your cattle, etc., whatever your investment is, after all of that is done, again if you have little bit of amount saved in your account, then it is better rather than this lying in your bank account or anywhere. It's better that it is invested and it gains interest over a period of time. Now you might wonder, how does this scheme exactly work? Well, let me tell you, in the Kisan Vikas Patra scheme, the investment is done in the form of certificates. This is where you need to purchase the certificates. Now, KPV has certificates of up to Rs 1000, 5000, 10,000 and also Rs 50,000, which you can easily purchase. So, in the next 124 months, which is around 10 years, you will get your invested amount plus the interest that is accrued on it. So this is a very profitable scheme for all the farmers who have some spare money in the bank account and they can invest this money. Now the other way you can invest and double your money is by making a regular deposit, regular investment in FDs and RDs to maximize the returns. And lastly, I would advise you to review your insurances that you've taken and also monitor your investment plan on a year-by-year basis. So these are the few important basic points that you need to keep in mind. So I hope in this entire video you have understood how important a financial planning is for the farmers and what are the ways through which you can actually look for alternative source of income, how you can double your money by investing your valuable money in certain schemes. Now, in case if you're not very comfortable with government schemes, then you can definitely choose to invest in other such schemes that will give you good amount of money. So I hope this video was quite helpful to all the farmers and also those who belong to a farming family, and they can reach out to more and more farmers to help them to plan their financial planning, which is very much important, especially in this era. Also, if you want to learn in detail about financial planning and you want to learn in detail about other such investment schemes, then hurry up and download Freedom app, wherein it will give you A to Z details of how you can invest in one particular avenue and double your income. So this is it for now. I will meet you guys soon in the next video. Also, before going, do not forget to hit on the like button, subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to hit on the bell icon to get notified for our next video. Thank you for watching Freedom. Get wise, break free.